Hello everyone, this is Peter. Welcome to another episode of News Plus brought to you from Plus Agency. This is a channel to summarize what has happened in the Sydney real estate market in the past 7 days or past week. If you're interested in this type of content, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, click the little like button and forward this information to your friends and family who needs it. Plus Agency is a boutique real estate agency specialized in buying and selling. If you have needs for properties in Upper North Shore, Lower North Shore, CBD or Eastern Suburb, please make sure to pay us a visit at 418 Victoria Avenue, Chatswood, or go online at plusagency.com.au for some of the best deals you can find in Sydney real estate market. Alright, with no further ado, let's get this week's News Plus started. First is all about Sydney auctions. This new house in Kriba has sold $455,000 above its reserve because of its development potential. It's not a luxury house at all, and the price point has been finally snatched up is $2.455 million. Reserve is $2 million. Majority of the houses down in that area will be probably looking at about around sort of mid one to high ones, which is why the bid start from 1.9 million, leveled with the price guide. The auctioneer received rapid succession of bids in the early half of the auction, and people just start to go in there like crazy. At the end of the day, it was snatched up not by the buyer, but by buyer agency acting on behalf of buyer, which become very popular. It's not a luxury house, but because it can be developed and because there are potentials, that's why there are 9 registered bidders trying to take over this as a development site. A lot of them are developer themselves. There are about 1,500 scheduled auctions this week. Preliminary indications that there will be a similar success rate to last week. Roughly about 2/3 of the auctions produce a sale. Just another indication about how hot the Sydney real estate market is, even though it's still towards the end of the year now. Alright, next one. Going back to the big sales. Eastern Suburb, Beverly Hills Mansion with high 20 mil range price guide sells. And this is done by a really famous film producer, Anjanette Pobsey Albert. She is the producer for one of our favorite films, Strictly Ballroom, with a lot of musical content. We used to have the right reviews about this when it was high school. 1,421 square meters of land in the heart of one of the best positions in Beverly Hills. Even though it doesn't get a magnificent view, but the price point 28 million is actually making a lot of people thinking, whether a view is that important. It's a very classy home. You can see a lot of film, old style, Hollywood classic feeling in it. I've seen this in many of the films I grew up with, and this is just like a dream come true. It's like you're living in an 80s film. The actual result of its sale represents what people are looking for in this type of market. Something with good landscaping, character, nice design, as well as good location. Alright, next one. Merchant Navy Captain Peter Fleming's Wash Bay Harbourfront sells after auction. So auction has always been a very popular method for reaching crazy prices, but not all the time the auction gets result. And even though when auction doesn't get result, that doesn't mean the property is not getting sold. This particular home has been sold post-auction for around $16 million when it was passed in at the auction for $15.3 million. It is a hot auction. The price gap was 13 million. However, it just didn't happen at the auction. But that doesn't mean the agent from Sotheby's is going to stop working on the buyer. They have been trying to negotiate a deal down to the bone and then finally get this over the line. This is a very beautiful house, beautiful landscaping with a magnificent harbor view, bridge. It is one of the best homes you can find in Sydney, especially when it's on the harbor front. So this home was bought for only about $52,000 back in 1968. Now with the price at 15.3 passed in and sold for 16 million. There's also been a couple of other sales happening as well. Looks like there's another one at number 3 Pacific Street, Wash Bay as well, sold for $12.38 million at the auction. It wasn't on the harbor front like this one. There was almost on 900 square meter land, which backed onto the Campbell Cove Reserve. Price guide was only about 7.5 million. Can you imagine that? And the final result is about $5 million above its price guide. east suburb still going strong. Next one, a buyer who got so happy with the purchase that she didn't realize she is the buyer. At the auction in the Western Sydney, Ermington, there has been an auction that's got over 100 people go and watch, and there are numerous amount of people actually registered for buying this property. This is finally sold at the auction at $2.355 million for this newly built Ermington 2-level house, and it's about $205,000 above the reserve. The buyer didn't understand or didn't even know she has won the auction because it was just such a hot pocket until people start to come in and congratulations and hugs still happening. Then they have finally break down in tears, hugging the family and saying we just cannot wait to move in. Not very common that buyer doesn't know she won. Congratulations to her. Hopefully they can enjoy their new home as much as they have at the auction experience. Alright, last news of the week is about home buyers boost as Sydney property market cools off. By doing opens every single week, even we understand the Sydney property market is noticeably cooling down. And there's a couple of reasons for it as well. First of all, at the end of the year, especially December, is actually a very quiet time already. People already start to go home, go holiday, they just stop working already, and open for inspection doesn't attract many people anymore. So at the end of the year, it wasn't really a good time to sell, even though there are some buyers still on the market, but just dramatically decreasing numbers. So that's first what happens in December. Another thing is about the interest rise in majority of the banks. So a lot of banks actually come with an interest rise, and it looks like it's about to rise again. If interest keep rising, people will start to hold off a little bit and being scared of about how much extra interest they are gonna have to pay if they buy into a property. So that will affect it a little bit as well. Also, there has been a lot more stock on the market, a lot more property being listed on the market compared to when it was winter lockdown back in about August, July and end of June. It's a combination of a few things that slow down the market, but by slowing down doesn't mean the price has dropped. It just means the price increase has slowly happening. There are still 0.9% increment over November on the house price based on CoreLogic. We've just been through a crazy year. March growth was like the highest month rise in 30 years back in 2021. So this is something, bound to be slowed down a little bit. We don't know what's going to happen next year, but if interest rate is stabilized, there hasn't been that much stock on the market and something has been sold around this year already, looks like we're gonna go back into a more crazier market again. We see what happens in 2022. A lot of people say it's gonna normalize, but normalized, that doesn't mean there's not gonna be capital gain. A lot of the areas has received double-digit capital gain this year. On average, the whole entire Sydney has received roughly about 20% capital gain. Actually, it's about 25.8% higher than what it was at this time in 2020 based on the sales of units, townhouses, and houses. Last of all is a Plus agency listing. Everybody knows that North Shore has been really hot, really popular. We got this beautiful listing, which is a 1-bedroom plus study with 2 bathrooms in the heart of Chatswood. This is the internal of the 1-bedroom. Very nice living area, very big kitchen area, very nice light, facing northeast aspect, which is being one of the best aspects. It's got a magnificent courtyard, beautiful timber floor. The master bedroom is facing onto a very quiet street called Oliver Road as well. The master bedroom comes with its own ensuite, and outside of it is an individual study room with its own doors and windows. This is the balcony which open up onto a very beautiful easterly aspect, and 2 of the bathrooms has been finished at the highest standard Chatswood can offer. Marble tiles, beautiful tapwares, and plenty of storages. Overall 98 square meter of size for 1-bedroom plus study is absolutely amazing, and the 2 bathroom designs definitely is helping it as well. Alright, thank you so much for tuning into this week's News Plus. This is Peter Lee. I'll see you next week.